The Lord kept dealing with me about Nehemiah. For some reason, in my haste, I didn't read the letter, I guess with the theme, and for come in this afternoon and to see that your theme comes from the book of Nehemiah. It just once again lets me know how God moves in mysterious ways. But rather than Nehemiah, the 6th chapter, staying on the wall, I want to go to Nehemiah, the 3rd chapter and the 1st verse. Nehemiah, the 3rd chapter and the 1st verse. If you have it, let's stand and read the word of the Lord together, and I will not be long. Let us read. Then Eliashib, the high priest, rose up with his brethren, the priest, and they builded the sheep gate. They sanctified it and set up the doors of it, even unto the tower of Mahah. They sanctified it until the tower of Hananiel, which means God has been gracious. Now let's read it together. Then Eliashib, the high priest, rose up with his brethren, the priest, and they builded the sheep gate. They sanctified it and set up the doors of it, even unto the tower of Meab. They sanctified it unto the tower of Hananiel. Shake somebody's hand before you are seated and say, neighbor, we need to take advantage of sacred openings. You might be seated. Sacred openings. The text calls them sanctified openings. Please allow me to just celebrate the fact that Nehemiah happens to be one of my favorite books in the Bible. Nehemiah speaks to leadership. Nehemiah reminds you that being a leader, you will be faced with opposition, that it will be pointed in your direction each and every time you purpose to build rather than to tear down. The enemy of advancement, the stronghold against progress, will do all within their grasp and power to pull you off the wall. But I came by just to remind you that you're doing a great work and you cannot come down. You've got to keep building. Shake somebody's hand and say, keep building. Because it will ultimately and eventually pay off. Nehemiah, my brothers and sisters, saw a great need among the people. He rose up, he captured a vision. And you know the word says that without vision, the people perish. He laid out a plan. He mobilized the people to join in this worthy and worthwhile cause and effort. He is a classic example of what God can do with you when he speaks to you and you follow his direction. It must be noted that Nehemiah's story, the book of Nehemiah, the lessons in Nehemiah, reveals nowhere any overt or obvious or openly demonstrated miracles. Nowhere in the book of Nehemiah do you read where anybody was miraculously healed? You do not read in the book of Nehemiah that anybody walked on the water or an axe head floated on the water. Nowhere in the book of Nehemiah will you read where anybody was raised from the dead. Are y'all praying with me? But we do discover that Nehemiah is a success. And he is a success only because of hard work. I didn't expect to get a whole lot of amens because too many of us act like we are allergic to hard work. Nothing on this earth is any better and yields any greater results than hard work. My native Tennessee, they call it blood, sweat, and tears. One of the recent debates of granting legal citizenship to the Hispanic workers is the argument, and I hate to report that much of the argument is true, that people of our hue, people of our race, people of our nationality, colored, Negro, black, African American, we have lost the desire and the urge and see the necessity for hard work. We got a few pieces of silk in our closet and think we have arrived. We live in a house with 4 bedrooms and 3 bathrooms and can't use one toilet except one at a time. And we think, and we have raised our children to think that they don't have to work hard. We buy things that we don't need with money that we don't have to impress folk that we don't like, trying to keep up with the Joneses. I know one can rehearse our history of slavery and the song that we declared, "Oh, freedom, before I'd be a slave, I'd be buried in my grave." I know they worked us for over 100 years on farms, sharecropping, segregation, holding a low ceiling over our head. But I declare to you, ushers, nurses, and candy stripes, continue to be an example to this church and this community that hard work and serving others still pays off. Nehemiah was a cupbearer for King Artaxerxes. One day, he heard that the walls surrounding Jerusalem lay in ruins. All the other nations were mocking them. All the other nations were pointing fingers at them and saying, "You claim that your God is Jehovah God. You claim that your God is the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. And look at you. Enemies can come in and plunder and take anything that they want." This terrible news burdened Nehemiah. Let me just stop there for a quick second. I said this bad news, this terrible news burdened Nehemiah. We live in a culture and a society that bad news doesn't even bother us anymore.